Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to part 2 of my vintage Christmas gift guides. If you didn't watch my previous video, it was a vintage Christmas gift guide for her. I have a full list with different categories the same way as my previous video, so if you didn't watch it, I'm going to be linking it up here in the cards as well as in the description bar. And you're also probably wondering why I'm doing Christmas videos in November, and that is because Canada Post has actually asked everybody to start doing their Christmas shopping now because they fear that you might not be able to get your packages on time if you are online shopping, as well as retailers are trying to avoid large crowds and lineups at the mall. I talked about a little bit about this in my previous video, so if you already watched it, I'm just going to put a timestamp so you can skip over it. I kind of wanted to bring things back to a previous generation where people gave small little sentimental gifts for Christmas or birthdays or whatever it is that you're giving, and I feel like people were a lot more appreciative of those types of gifts and maybe they kept them for the rest of their lives, as opposed to us now that we just buy something random we see at the mall to check people off our list and just kind of get it over with. I feel like we kind of lost that small little sentimental part when it comes to Christmas gifts, and I kind of wanted to bring that back a little bit. Most of the items that I have are vintage or vintage inspired, so most of these items you can get at like an antique stores, secondhand shops, or you could get them brand new if you wanted to. So I'll try to add some links in the description bar, as well as I actually added items to my favorites section on my Etsy page, so I'm going to be linking it down there so that way you guys can shop items from Etsy that I really like. Like I mentioned, I have a few different categories, and I'm going to be starting with the first category, which is for their office or studies. The first thing in this category is actually what I'm giving my dad for Christmas this year, and it is this vintage globe for his office, and look at how stunning this is. It is absolutely amazing. I'm obsessed with it. I found it at a little like secondhand bookstore and it was just so cool. It is vintage. I don't know what year it's actually from, but I just think it's like really cool and pretty, and I think it would look really great in like an office or like a study. You can't really go wrong with globes, and this one's the one that just kind of sits in like a little circle thing like this. Then there's also like a more classic version like the one I have here. It looks like this and it's like a really classic one. You just have to kind of look at whatever color palette they have in their study or room or office or whatever it is, and you can try and match to that. You can find them in pretty much every single color. Similar to that, it's just a little bit more of like a decorative piece, but getting one of those bottles that have the ship inside I think are really cool. I actually got this for my dad when I was like really young, I think for like Father's Day or for his birthday or something, but I just think they're really cool and they would look great in an office. So it looks like this. So it's like a glass bottle and then it has the little ship on the inside. I try not to shake it too much because I'm scared that it's going to break and then I won't be able to fix it because it's inside the bottle. Similar to this, you can also find them in like a different kind of case. So this one looks like this. It's like a little square and then it has the little ship on the inside, and I just think it looks really cool, especially for like an office like near some like vintage books or something. I think it would look really cool. So similar to that, you can always get them a vintage car model, so anything really cool and like vintage looking. Sometimes they're like metal, and I think that would look really nice with like vintage books in like an office. Or you could even get them the same model of car that they have. If they really love their car, you can try and find the exact same model of car and get them like a really tiny little replica of it. That would make a really great gift, especially for like your dad, or if your boyfriend really loves cars, that would be a really great gift. The next thing on the list would be perfect maybe for like your dad, and it would be a magnifying glass, and I just think they're really cool. I don't know, I like playing with them and reading things with a little magnifying glass. I feel like I'm like Nancy Drew or something, but anyway, so I think they're really cool. You can find some really fun handles, especially if it's like vintage. You can get tons of options on Etsy or like antique shops, so I'll try to link some things down below or just add them to my favorites page on Etsy so you guys can shop from there. The next item on the list kind of crosses over from my previous video because I added this in the for her version as well, and that is one of those like wax candle stamp thingies for like letters, and I think these are so cool. I feel like more people should be using these because they're so much fun, and on Etsy you can actually get some really cool customizable ones, so you can add your letter, your family crest, or you can add 2 letters. I think if maybe you give this to your boyfriend and then you have one as well and then you guys send each other letters, like that would be the cutest thing ever. So highly recommend. I think that would make a really great gift. If you wanted to, you could also do like a little bundle, so you can add the little wax steel stamp and then also add in a fountain pen. I feel like fountain pens are so cool and they were so popular before, but I feel like people don't really use them that much anymore, but I still think they write so nicely and it just looks so much prettier than like a ballpoint pen. So highly recommend that. And if you wanted to, you can even add a little leather journal to the pack. I love leather journals. I feel like they would make a really great gift for anybody. This is actually my diary that I write in every single day. I love this journal, but you can find some on like Chapters or Indigo or Etsy or Amazon. You can find some really cool versions of this, and if you create a bundle with like the journal, the wax stamp, maybe some envelopes, the fountain pen, I think that would be the nicest gift for somebody that loves to read or to write. I think that would be a really really great gift. Speaking of reading, that leads us to the next category, which is a vintage book. I mentioned this in my previous video as well. For her, I think a book is kind of universal for everybody, but you can always get them a really nice copy of like a vintage book of maybe a particular author that they're really interested in, or just a book that maybe they've been wanting to get for a long time. This one is Tender as the Night by Fitzgerald. I just got this, so I haven't read it yet, but I think that would make a really great gift. And you can head on over to any like secondhand bookstore, thrift store, and there's actually like a whole section of vintage books, so you can always take a look there once you stop by, or go to like an actual specific secondhand like bookstore. Speaking of vintage books, you can also get them some bookends, and I think this would be a really great addition to a study or office. So I have these ones. They look like this. They have a wooden panel, and then they have little vintage cards on the side, and I just think they look so cool. And you can find some really nice ones at antique stores, so you can maybe find one with like a dog or a horse or a lion or whatever it is that they're interested in. These ones just have like little vintage cards, and I just think it adds something a little bit extra to like a bookshelf, and they just look really neat. So the next item crosses over from my previous video as well, and it is a printed photo and a love letter. My grandmother gifted my grandfather a photo for Valentine's Day, and then she wrote on the back, and that was the gift that she gave him. Like, that was it. Like, that was the gift. And I think it's so sweet. Something so sentimental and small, and then they can add that photo maybe to like a picture frame, or you could gift it with a picture frame, or they can add it into their wallet. I feel like when you think love letters, usually you think the guy gifting it to the girl, but I think that men really appreciate love letters as well. So I think it goes both ways, and you can definitely gift that to a guy, and I feel like a lot of them will appreciate it. So I think that would be a really sweet gift. Maybe you can put it in a picture frame like I said, or add it in with some chocolates or something. The next thing on the list is a calendar, and I'm not talking about like the plain paper calendars with like a dog on it. The one that I'm talking about looks like this. So it's like a little brass little calendar, and then you do the twist the little sides here to change the day or the month or the year. Actually no, it doesn't have a year, but I just think it's really cool that way you can keep twisting it, and then you can keep changing the day. I found this at Bombay a really long time ago, but I'm sure I can find some on Etsy or online. I'll try to do a little bit of digging so I can link it for you guys. The next thing on the list is a letter opener, and again, this is something that a lot of people don't have anymore. I feel like people just kind of like rip them open, but there was a time where people actually used letter openers, and I think they're so cool. I've actually been on the hunt for one for myself. This one is my dad's. It looks like a little sword. You can get some really cool designs. There's some that have like animals or like really fun flowers, or like just random like gold designs like crests and stuff like that. And I just think they're so much fun. I feel like this would make a really nice addition to like a study or an office, just because you're opening letters all the time. And I just think it would be really cool to have. I feel like for everybody, like everybody should just have a letter opener. The last thing in this category is paperweights, and I feel like you can get some really cool paperweights from pretty much anywhere, like anywhere that sells books or antique stores or secondhand shops. You can find some really cool paperweights. I think it's one of those things that a lot of people don't think to buy, but then when you actually need it, you don't have it. I think this would be a really great gift for somebody that has a lot of like scrolls, not actual scrolls. Like I'm talking about like architects that have those really long papers that they need to see like really open, or even artists if they have like a really long paper. I think that would be really handy for somebody that has long pieces of paper that they need to keep straight. I think that would be a really great gift. The next category that I have is accessories and apparel, and the very first thing in this category is cufflinks, and I feel like men don't buy themselves cufflinks. Like I feel like they're always gifted to them, so I think this would be a really great opportunity to gift some. I'll insert some clips so you guys can see them, because I feel like this is too far away for me to show you, but you can get some really cool designs, especially in like vintage or antique stores. I feel like cufflinks are kind of like a lost accessory for men, but if you're going to be gifting it to somebody that really appreciates vintage, I think they would really love a pair of like vintage cufflinks. I think that would just make the perfect gift. Similar to cufflinks, I think that tie clips would make a really nice gift, and you can find some really cool ones at antique stores or antique markets. So I don't know, I think it would make a really unique gift. Another great gift would be a wooden or like leather watch holder. I think a nice place to just kind of store all your watches is something that anybody could really use. And you can also store like your cufflinks or other things that you want to store in there on the side pockets. I don't know, I think it would make a really nice gift. The next item on the list is a really nice pair of leather gloves, and I feel like you can't really go wrong with gloves. I feel like if you live somewhere that gets really cold, that gloves are kind of a necessity, and maybe they can keep it in their cars, like driving gloves, or if they're walking around the city, I think that would be the perfect accessory to wear. So either way, it would make a really nice gift. The next item in this category is a personalized bathrobe, and I also mentioned this in the For Her version, and I just think it would make a really great gift for anybody, especially this season that a lot of people are going to be spending a lot of time at home and not doing a lot of traveling this winter. So having something really nice and cozy to wear when you're hanging out at home. Maybe add their name on it, or a family crest, or just like a monogram or their initials. I think that would make a really nice gift, especially when you pair it with the next item on my list, which is slippers. I feel like everybody loves slippers, and anybody wants to be really nice and cozy whenever they're at home. So a nice pair of slippers is perfect. That'll keep everybody really nice and toasty, especially now going into like the really harsh cold months. And if you wanted to, you could even customize the slippers as well. So if you add the name to the bathrobe, you can add the name also on their slippers. The next item on the list kind of depends on whatever their style is, but it is a vintage looking hat or actual vintage hat depending on their preference. And my dad has these ones, and you can wear them to like play golf or just to wear when it gets cold. My dad wears these when it gets really cold outside, and I just think it looks so nice. This one is like gray and black houndstooth, which I think is really pretty. And then he has this other one that looks like this. That has like a few different colors houndstooth. This one is more of like a summer hat in the sense of the colors are a little bit lighter than this one. This one's definitely heavier and more of a wool. The next thing on the list is a classic and a favorite, and it is socks. And I feel like every single person likes to get socks for Christmas. So I was thinking more so the lines of the really nice Argyle ones. I feel like it's a classic. It's been around for a really long time, and I feel like it never really goes out of style. The next thing on the list is actually one of my favorite gifts to give, and it is a shoehorn. And before you start thinking about the plain plastic shoehorns that you see at a department store, the ones that I'm talking about are the ones that are metal or brass. And they have a little wooden handle like this, so they're really nice and long, and I just think these are so neat. You can find some really cool ones at antique stores. So I have this one that has a really long little shoehorn, and then it has like a little golf stick at the top. So it looks like this. It has the little shoehorn there, and then at the very top there's a little duck, and I just think it's so dainty and perfect. So something like this I think would make a really great gift, and something that they might not actually buy for themselves. You can have it by your front door, maybe in like the umbrella stand or something. I think that would make a really nice gift. That brings us to the next item, which is a bow tie. I feel like bow ties should be worn more often. I think they look super cute. If you are going to be gifting a bow tie, make sure you get the ones that he ties himself as opposed to the ones that are pre-tied. I don't know, I just think it looks a little bit better. It might take him longer to get ready, but it does look a little bit more polished. The next item in this list is something that gets passed on from generation to generation, and that is a pocket watch. I think pocket watches are so beautiful and something that we should totally bring back. I think they look really nice, and I don't know, I really like pocket watches and the whole concept of passing it down from generation to generation. I just think it's really, really cool. You can find some really cool ones in antique stores or vintage shops, and maybe you can find some with like a really cool design, or maybe from a time period that they're interested in. So for example, if maybe they have a special interest on like World War II, maybe you can find one from that time period, and I think that would be a really nice gift. Next thing on the list is an umbrella, and I feel like you can find some really cool ones in antique stores or markets. They have like really elaborate little handles. This one's just like a plain wooden one, but you can find something so much cooler than this. And you can also get some where the fabric has a really fun print all over it, and I just think that would be a really nice, especially if somebody like collects umbrellas. I feel like that would be a really nice gift. The next thing in this category is something that you're going to see in pretty much every single gift guide, and that is cologne. So I went through my dad's cologne collection and I found some ones to show you. So this was the first one that I'm going to show you because it had a really cool bottle, so that's why I grabbed it. And this one is Pasha de Cartier, and I just think it's really, really cool. I love this bottle. It's so fun and like so vintage looking, and it smells really nice. I can smell it through the bottle. But anyway, so that's one option. And then I have another one that smells really great, and this one is by Mont Blanc, and this smells like a fancy version of Abercrombie & Fitch. My favorite fragrance for men is Chanel Blue. I think it smells so nice, so I'm going to be adding a link to the description bar so you guys can shop that one. Highly, highly, highly recommend for like your boyfriend, or yeah, for your boyfriend, because it smells really, really nice, so highly recommend. That brings us to the very last category in this video, which is special interests. And the very first thing I have on the list is actually a gift that I gave my dad for Father's Day last year, and it was the coolest gift I've ever given, I think ever. And it is a newspaper from a major life event. My dad is really interested in the moon landing, so I found this moon landing copy of a newspaper. And so this one is the Los Angeles Times, and this is the Orange County edition. They had different ones for depending on what suburb you were in. I got this just in time for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, so that was like perfect timing. I actually used this newspaper in my photo for Instagram when I was talking about the moon landing. But anyway, I think this would be a really nice gift, especially if they're interested in particular life events. So maybe it's World War II related, or maybe like if you want to get one from like the 1920s, or even their birthday. If you're actually able to find a newspaper from the day they were born, that would be really cool. I have a newspaper from the day that I was born that my dad saved. He gave it to me on my 18th birthday, so something like that I think would make a really nice gift. It might take a little bit of digging, and it might be a little bit expensive depending depending on what particular life event you're shopping for, but I still think it would make a really, really great gift. Another more unique gift could be a croquet set, and I think this would be so much fun, especially if you find like a really cool vintage one in an antique market or antique shop. I don't know, even online you can probably find some as well. Something else that you could get maybe is like a vintage board game, something maybe like chess or like backgammon. You can find some really cool vintage sets, maybe something in like wood or marble. I think that would be such a nice gift. Next thing on this list is some vintage binoculars, and I see these at antique markets all the time. You can get some really beautiful ones in like a leather case, and you can either get the binoculars that go like this, that they cover both your eyes, or you could get the ones that are like long and gold and you can kind of go like whatever those ones are called. I think that would be such a nice gift that a lot of people might not buy for themselves. I think that's something they can keep on display maybe in their office or study, and then they can take it along with them if they go on like a boat trip or camping or like a big hike of some sort, and then they can just kind of look out into the horizon. I don't know, I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't buy for themselves, but I think it would make a really nice gift and something that's a little bit more thoughtful and something they can hang on to for a really long time. If someone in your life really loves vintage, maybe you can get them a vintage style shaving kit. So it looks like this. It has a little bowl, and then there's a little brush that I would imagine they apply the shaving cream with, and then there also comes with a little vintage razor that looks like this. It's like a little metal one, and I just think these are so cool and they look really nice on display. Like even if they do just have it as a display, I think it looks really nice. If someone that you're shopping for wears a lot of leather shoes, you can get them a really nice vintage style shoe shine kit. So it looks like this, it's wood, and then you put the shoe here, that way you can shine it up, and then it opens up. It looks like this, and then on the inside you can have all the little accessories. So you have the little brushes and the shoe cream as well. And I think this would be a really nice gift that maybe a lot of people don't buy for themselves. Like they might buy like the brush and the shoe cream, but they might not have like an actual box to put it on. So something like this I think would be a really nice gift for somebody that wears a lot of leather shoes and really likes to take care of their shoes. This one was also in my for her version, but if someone that you're shopping for loves music, a record player is always the perfect gift. The next item I mentioned in the for her version as well, and that is a vintage suitcase set, and I feel like these are so cute, especially now that a lot of people are going to be traveling by car or by train. I think it's the perfect opportunity to use a vintage style luggage set, and I just think they look so much nicer than regular modern luggage, so I highly recommend something like that. If you do want to buy like a full-on luggage set, I would recommend going to like an antique store or an antique market, or maybe even Facebook Marketplace so you can pick it up for yourself, just because I feel like if you buy it off Etsy, it might be really expensive to have it shipped to you just on shipping alone, just because they're so heavy and so bulky. So yeah, maybe go somewhere where you can actually pick it up and see it for yourself. Along the same lines, the next item that I have is a toiletry case, and I actually saw one on Etsy. It was vintage from the 1950s and it was so cool. It was like kind of like around like this size, and it was dark brown leather, like a little briefcase, and then when you opened it up, it had all the little glass bottles and a little glass container for your soap and like for a section for your shaving kit. It was just so cool. I'd never seen anything like it, so I'll try to find some alternatives and I'll add it to my favorites on Etsy, but having a little vintage toiletry case like that would be so cool, especially for somebody that really loves and appreciates vintage. I think they would really like a present like that. If you're shopping for somebody that works in more of an office setting, I think a vintage briefcase would be the perfect gift. Maybe something from the 1950s or the 1960s. I feel like there's something about vintage briefcases that just look so elegant and so nice, as opposed to the modern ones that are more athletic, I want to say. So yeah, if you're shopping for somebody that really loves and appreciates vintage, I think they would really love a really nice briefcase. The next gift that I have is perfect for somebody that loves astrology or the stars, this moon landing, anything to do with space, and it is a self-standing telescope. You know those like really big fancy telescopes? I think that would make such a nice gift for like your brother, your boyfriend, your dad, especially now that a lot of people are spending time at home. So I think it would be a really nice hobby to pick up to look at the stars or different planets. I don't know, I think it would make a really nice gift that maybe a lot of people might not buy for themselves. And if you get like a really cool vintage one, it would make a really nice display by like a window, and yeah, I think it would make a really nice gift. So my next gift might be a little bit specific, but my dad, he collects knight statues. He has so many of them. He has some really large ones, some that have like a giant horse, some even like the little sword that comes with it, or actually you can take it out and it becomes a letter opener. He has so many different kinds. So I don't know, I thought maybe if my dad is interested in it, maybe someone in your life is interested in knight statues, and it would make a nice gift. They do look really nice on display with like vintage books on the back. The next item that I have is perfect for somebody that loves to go camping or hiking or just the outdoors in general, and it is a vintage compass. This one isn't vintage, it's just like a plain plastic one, but you can get some really cool ones at antique markets that have like a gold case and even like a little chain that you can attach to your pants, and I just think it's so cool and something that maybe they wouldn't splurge and get something like that for themselves. So highly recommend something like that. It would make a really thoughtful gift that they can hang on to forever. And that brings us to the very last thing in this gift guide. guide, and it's also something that would be perfect for somebody that loves the outdoors. And then it's a Swiss Army knife, and I feel like these used to be really popular gifts. I'm not really sure if they're still being given as gifts, but I think it would make a really nice gift for somebody that loves the outdoors, just because it comes with so many different gadgets. Let me open it to show you something. How do you open this? Oh, wait. Okay, so here we go. We have a little bottle opener, and oh, there's a magnifying glass in here. There's also a bottle opener. I'm sure there's scissors in here somewhere, obviously a knife, and just like a bunch of other random gadgets. So I think this would be perfect for somebody that loves to go camping. I'm not really sure what more I can say about it. You guys know what a Swiss Army knife is. And yeah, that brings us to the very end of this video. I hope you guys liked it and found some form of inspiration for gifts that you can give. If you haven't seen the For Her version, I'm going to be linking it down in the description bar so you guys can check it out. And yeah, let me know if you have any particular Christmas video requests. I knew I had a few DMs of people asking me about Vlogmas, and yes, I am going to be doing Vlogmas in December, so make sure you're subscribed, as well as turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss out on any new videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Also, shout out to my dad for letting me borrow all of his stuff from his office. I literally went in there with a list and I was like, I need this, I need this, I need this. So yeah, thank you, Dad.